Welcome to this week's Daily Writing Clinic. This is for the General Task 1, and it is the second part of Paraphrasing for Purpose Statements, the series of 5 that we're doing this month. So before we start, a couple of things just to clarify. Remember, it's not mandatory to do these daily writing clinics, and it's much more important for you to focus on the course first. The purpose of these daily writing clinics is to revise different aspects of course, practice, and receive global feedback. So the global feedback will be given on Tuesday next week for this video. You'll be able to find it in a link under this video in the comments. The benefits of these daily writing clinics is that you can use the global feedback to analyze your own work and overcome your weaknesses. Just to manage expectations, there was obviously no individual feedback. That is the purpose of the correction service. So if you're looking for specific individual feedback on your own work, please submit essays to the correction service. At the end of today's video, there will be a task. I'd like you to post the answer to that task in the comments under this video. With all that said, let's get on with today's daily writing clinic. Okay, so this week's question is, you live in a room in college which you share with another student. However, there are many problems with this arrangement, and you find it very difficult to work. Write a letter to the accommodation officer at college. In the letter, describe the situation, explain your problems and why it's difficult to work, and say what kind of accommodation you would prefer. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do, as always, is decide, is this letter a formal or informal letter? So we go down to the second part where it says write a letter to, and here it says the accommodation officer at the college. So if I'm looking at this, I would think, it's going to be a formal letter. Remember, it's only informal if it says write a letter to a friend. So here it says write a letter to the accommodation officer, so we know it's a formal letter. If it's a formal letter, that means we need to use formal language, and we do not use contractions in our letter. Okay, it's very important that we keep our tone consistent, because if the tone is not consistent, we're not getting above a band 6, so for task response. So very important to make sure that we've got that. Okay, so now we know if it's formal or informal. Remember, we're going to be writing a purpose statement, so you want to really say why you're writing. So I'm writing this, and then we've got to decide, are we writing this letter to inform the accommodation officer, to ask for something, to thank the accommodation officer or something, or to complain about something? I personally think it would be possible to go with two of these ideas. I wouldn't really say it's a letter to inform the accommodation officer, but you certainly could be asking the accommodation officer for help in your situation. So I'm writing this letter to ask if you could help me with a difficult situation. We're definitely not thanking the accommodation officer. We might be writing to complain, so you could be, I'm writing to complain about a situation that I have currently with my living accommodation. I think the best one here for me would be to ask for help. So I'm writing this to ask if you could help me solve a difficult situation. Okay, so once we've decided what we're writing, we start that. Remember, it's a purpose statement, so we've got to write our purpose. I'm writing it to ask you for help about a difficult situation. And then we need to include our key information. So looking at this, we've got two sentences. Something I've noticed in the past when students get questions like this, they only seem to paraphrase one of the sentences. So if we've got two sentences, we need to include the information from both sentences. So that means we have to mention that we're living in a room in college, which we share with our student, and we have to mention that there's a problem with the arrangement, and that you find it very difficult to work. So all of this information has to be included in there. So your purpose statement generally, or any paraphrase generally, if you're looking at paraphrase, you want the paraphrase to be about the same amount of length, the same size as the original piece of writing. So that just gives you a good idea of how much you're going to be writing. You're going to be writing roughly the same amount as this question statement if it's going to be an accurate paraphrase. Anything under means you've probably not included enough information, and anything over means you're probably including unnecessary information, which we also do not want to do. Okay, so now we've decided we have to paraphrase both of these sentences. The most important thing is work out keywords. You can do this quite simply by taking a pen or pencil when you're in your exam and just underlining the words that you think it would be easy to paraphrase. Remember, you don't have to paraphrase every single word. It's much more important to be accurate. So if you're not 100% sure of a synonym, don't use one. Okay. So personally, when I looked at this, I just thought, okay, live, that's something I can paraphrase. Stay for me would be a good synonym. We got in a room in college. So that could be in a dorm, would be a possibility. College, possibly we could use university. Share, I didn't personally come up with a synonym that I thought was great for share. I occupy with, but it just seems even a bit formal for a formal letter. Possible I occupy a room with another student. It's not the most natural thing to say. But so if I think, okay, share isn't a word that I find an easy synonym for, I'm not 100% sure if occupy is really what I want to use. We're just going to go on to the next. So another student, okay, student pupil, that's easy enough. Okay, right, next sentence. There are problems. So problems, issues, many, a lot of. So there are a lot of issues with this arrangement. So again, if you think of a word great, I thought situation would work for me here. So that would be a possibility. I find it very difficult. So very, we could change with really, difficult, hard, and work, I thought of study. So those were, when I looked at that, these were the synonyms I came up with. So they're probably not the only synonyms. They were just the first thing that came to mind, and I knew that they all 100% work, so I'm happy with them. So those would be the words that I would use. And then if possible, I would try and change the word order a little bit to make sure that we chopped up the sentence a bit so it looked a little bit different to the original. Okay, but remember, only use synonyms that you're 100% sure of. You can use the synonyms I've given you here. You can use your own synonyms, okay, but just make sure that you're using vocabulary that is accurate. You're going to lose a lot more marks for accuracy than you will for using one big clever word. Okay, the extra marks for getting a clever word in there are pretty much negligible, but the marks you lose for being inaccurate are very noticeable. So very, very important. Focus on accuracy. Only use words or phrases that you are 100% sure of, and make sure, as I said, because this is a format, we're going to be using formal writing. So that brings us on to this week's task. So this week's task is write the paraphrase, or should I say the purpose statement for this question. and it's you live in a room in college which you share with another student. However, there are many problems with this arrangement, and you find it very difficult to work. Write a letter to the accommodation officer at the college, and then in the letter, and then we don't have to worry about bullet points because we're only focusing on the purpose statement. So remember, it is a formal letter, and we are paraphrasing the question statement at the beginning. Apart from that, I will be posting the global feedback for this task on Tuesday next week. It will be in a video in the comments of this task, so have a look at that Tuesday next week. Apart from that, good luck with all your work and all your exam preparation. Hope you have a wonderful day, and goodbye for now.